Yo, Drake, you're not picking up your phone. You're not answering my text. You're not picking up FaceTime. Yo, bro, it's me. It's me. Pick up your phone. If you want me to stop this interview, I'll stop it right now.
No. Law and gentle grime lovers, grab your snacks because this story is straight out of chaos. DJ Khaled, the man who built an empire off yelling another one on Drake's tracks, might finally be facing the end of his loud, glittery run. People been clowning for years asking, what does he even do? And now that question hits harder than ever, because the guy has been dead silent since a certain lawsuit went public. The so-called sexy red stunt double is dragging him into legal fire, and the king of catchphrases could be about to lose it all. But before I break down how deep this mess really goes, smash that like and subscribe button. Seriously, I live off dissecting this drama like it's my 9 to 5. Now here's where things get juicy. In hip-hop, there's two kinds of players. Those who stand tall when the smoke comes, and those who fold quick. And right now, DJ Khaled and Young Thug are the perfect test case. Thugger's been wrapped in his own storm of court headlines, while Khaled's been floating around with his "we the best" smile, hoping not to catch strays. But when rap's current civil war lit up, Drake, Kendrick Lamar, Future, Rick Ross, Metro Boomin, even UMG weighing in, both Khaled and Thug found themselves trapped in the middle like pawns in a dangerous chess game. And that's the real question everyone's whispering. Are they bold enough to pick a side, maybe even try to broker peace? Or are they just gonna sit back, keep their heads down, and pray this storm passes them by? One thing's for sure, their choices could either crown them as survivors of this war or expose them as nothing more than background noise in the biggest drama hip-hop has ever seen.
I was went inside the movement original, stolen up movement original. Right.
Khaled went mute while Young Thug couldn't stop running his mouth like a teenager flexing their first phone. I swear the difference is wild. One hides behind silence, the other overshares every messy thought. And both ended up knee-deep in problems for completely different reasons. But finally, the two are cracking open about what's been freezing their careers in place. Thugger tried smoothing things over with a so-called love letter-turned apology track, practically begging for forgiveness from the entire rap Avengers. Drake, Future, Lil Baby, 21 Savage, Gucci Mane, and even his girl Mariah the Scientist. The man put his pride on the shelf and went full, please take me back mode. Meanwhile, DJ Khaled popped up with Fat Joe and Jadakiss for a sit-down, acting like some wise council member to dissect the hip-hop civil war ripping the industry apart, Drake versus Kendrick, Future, and everybody else in the blast zone. Now let's keep it real. Khaled has built his brand off smiling, shouting, and playing neutral. But that neutral act doesn't keep him clean. His connections alone put him in the middle of crossfires he can't escape. And the one feud that could blow his whole empire into dust, the Drake versus everybody saga.
Hey, yo, Drake, did the Drake vocals come in yet?
See, Khaled came up right alongside Rick Ross, and over the years he cooked up collabs where Ross and Drake sounded unstoppable. Drake even admitted Ross was his favorite partner to rap with, which means Khaled is tangled in this mess whether he wants it or not. The question is, will he survive it or get crushed in the fallout? This all went down barely 6 months before the beef exploded. Drake swearing up and down that UK rappers got more talent than American ones, while in the same breath calling Rick Ross his favorite collab partner. Like seriously, make it make sense. And if your memory's fuzzy, let me remind you.
And I was shooting a music video with my favorite rapper to rap with. And by the way, I got a lot of respect for a lot of rappers, but I got one guy. He's my favorite person to rap with on any song. His name is Rick Ross. We were giving him.
It wasn't just Kendrick and Drake throwing lethal shots back and forth. Around that same time, Rick Ross and Champagne Papi were also trading blows, not just in diss records, but blasting each other on Instagram too. The mess was spilling everywhere, and anyone close to them risked getting scorched. Which brings us right back to DJ Khaled, because this puts him in a seriously sticky spot. Khaled and Ross got history way deeper than music. They came up in Miami together in the early 2000s, built a brotherhood, and bonded over more than just beats. I'm talking wild debates over almond milk origins and their infamous obsession with cereal. Yes, cereal. Ross gave Khaled some of his biggest smashes, and for years that was Khaled's golden formula. But here's the ugly truth. For the last decade, Khaled's whole game plan has been leeching off Drake's leftovers. Tracks Drake didn't care to use magically became DJ Khaled hits. And sure, it worked for a while, but now the formula is exposed, tired, and straight up embarrassing. Khaled's brand is looking less like "we the best" and more like "please Drake, bless me with another track."
No. I know why Drake don't do what I do when I talk and he don't talk. He'll take a picture and post because he got ghostwriters for his captions. Listen to me, he got people sitting around. What's Rick gonna do next? Let's go, come up with it. Come on, BBL Drizzy, just pick your phone up and talk to the people. You okay? We know you may be shallow. We know, but everything fine. Everything's gonna be okay. It's therapeutic. Release what's inside of you. It's called Earth Strong. I got one more question for BBL Drizzy. One more question. How long you gonna stay on that plane? It's dangerous. It's dangerous. It's a 1978 cargo plane, wasn't built for humans. It's dangerous. Imagine the white boy with the soul plane. Gah! Imagine the white boy with the soul. Oh, shit. How that boy Casanat do? Hey, no, let's pray for Drake. Soul plane, come on, man. You rich. You deserve better.
This fiasco got so embarrassing that Khaled was literally begging Drake for scraps. There was one record Khaled had his eyes on for his album, but Drake flat out said no. It didn't sound like a hit, didn't fit his vibe, and he wasn't interested. But Khaled just wouldn't let it go. He hounded Drake until the man finally snapped and said, "Fine, drop it, but I'm taking 95% of the profits." That's not a business deal. That's daylight robbery.
He worked with Pharrell, he worked with the Clips.
And Khaled still agreed because that's how thirsty he was for a Drake cosign. It just shows how much his entire brand has been built on clinging to Drake's shine. Without those records, Khaled's empire might not have lasted this long. And get this, DJ Khaled has somehow managed to pump out 14 studio albums. 14! Most rappers can't even keep their careers afloat past 3 albums before the sales drop so low they're forced to shelf projects. That's wild, but here's the kicker. The bulk of those albums leaned heavy on his lifelines, Rick Ross, and especially Drake. And here's where it gets even spicier. It exposes a deeper issue in hip-hop today.
Still not up on the almond.
Oh, no, Ross.
Rosé still frightened.
No, get the almond milk.
I just got up on 2% milk a couple years ago.
No, get the almond milk.
Now y'all trying to conspiracy.
No.
And it's the question. Is it from the almond of the walnut? Is they squeezing it out of the peanut?
I don't have that answer, and I usually have every answer.
Where are the larger-than-life superstars? Of course, we've got Kendrick Lamar, but he's not out here tossing throwaways just to stay trending. Kendrick drops with intention on his own time when he chooses. He doesn't play the album every year game just to keep chatter alive. That's why Khaled can't run the same play with him. Khaled's formula only works with artists willing to hand him leftovers, and that's starting to dry up quick. Kendrick's not out here tossing filler. He creates cultural earthquakes. His projects shape whole generations, but they're not the kind of albums you whip up overnight. And that's how a true superstar moves.
I don't know what to say. It's every waking moment that I'm alive. It's like you give someone everything you have and they're just like, another one, every 5 seconds on my phone, asking me for something.
Yo, Drake, you're not picking up your phone. You're not answering my texts. You're not picking up FaceTime. Yo, bro, it's me. It's me. Pick up your phone, man. Let's shoot this video for Greece, man. I'm telling you, it's going to be legendary.
Most elite artists take 1.5 to 3 years between drops, and that's normal. Compare that to Drake, who's been churning out formula-heavy albums like it's a factory line, dropping something new every few months just to keep his name buzzing. And here's the issue. There aren't many artists at that same once-in-a-lifetime magnitude anymore. When Kendrick goes quiet or Drake slows down, the silence feels huge, like the whole game's missing oxygen. Back in the 2010s, if Kendrick skipped a year, you'd still have a massive release from Kanye, J. Cole, Drake, Mac Miller, Tyler, A$AP Rocky, Big Sean, Meek Mill, or Whale. There was always someone big keeping the culture alive year after year. Same thing with the 2000s. If Jay-Z took a break, Kanye West, The Game, Lil Wayne, T.I., Jeezy, 50 Cent, or Eminem would step up and carry the moment. Hip-hop always had another giant ready to drop something explosive.
Did the Drake vocals come in yet? Did the Drake vocals get here yet?
The Drake vocals are in.
But now, Kanye's spiraling, Drake's projects aren't hitting like they used to, Kendrick only drops when he feels like it, and J. Cole moves on his own careful clock. That means no constant blockbuster moments like past eras, and the culture feels the drought. And this drought is bad news for DJ Khaled. His whole career in the second half has depended on attaching himself to superstar releases, feeding off their momentum to stay relevant. With fewer giants dropping, Khaled's empire doesn't have the same fuel, and fans are starting to notice the cracks.
Did the Drake vocals come in yet? Hey, yo, Drake, did the Drake vocals come in yet?
In the last few years, Drake has been the only superstar DJ Khaled could truly lean on for leftovers to dress up as hits. Back in the day, if Drake wasn't available, Khaled could easily tap into Lil Wayne, Nicki Minaj, Rick Ross, Kanye, Akon, T-Pain, even Ace Hood. Shout out Ace Hood. Does anybody still remember him? Drop it in the comments if you do. The point is, Khaled once had a buffet of talent to pull from, and it guaranteed him a steady stream of chart-baiting records, but those days are long gone. Who's he supposed to call now? J.I.D., Freddie Gibbs, Ray Vaughn? Nah, that doesn't fit Khaled's brand at all. His empire runs on larger-than-life superstar stuffed anthems, not underground posse cuts. So of course, when he started hyping up his next project, the big selling point wasn't a concept, wasn't a sound, wasn't even Khaled himself.
Drake vocals get here yet?
It's top secret, my brother.
It was the promise of not one but two Drake tracks to anchor the whole album. And Khaled went all out for the rollout. He dropped what might have been the most expensive album trailer the internet's ever seen. It looked less like a music announcement and more like a full-on blockbuster movie preview. Explosions, effects, drama, all to push the fact that he secured 2 new Drake songs for his project. But here's the catch. That flashy rollout landed only months after Drake had gone to war with Rick Ross, Kendrick Lamar, and half the industry. Suddenly, Khaled's proudest selling point looked less like a victory and more like him planting his flag right in the middle of hip-hop's bloodiest battlefield.
It's probably A minor.
DJ Khaled stayed completely silent through all the madness. Nobody knows what went down behind the scenes, but one thing's clear. When Drake was getting iced out by half the industry, Khaled didn't exactly step up. You'd think with all that brotherhood talk, he'd be front and center backing Drake up, but nope. Instead, we watched 21 Savage, Young Thug, and Lil Baby all jump out to defend Drake while Khaled sat on the sidelines, quiet as ever. And that's the problem. Khaled always seems to show up for the celebrations, but never for the struggles. When it's album time, he's screaming, "We the best," and hyping up the fact that he bagged 2 Drake features. But when Future, Rick Ross, and Kendrick started pressing Drake, silence. Not a word from Khaled. It made him look like a friend only for the good times, not the storm. So when Khaled finally posted his flashy album trailer on Instagram, Drake himself jumped in with the shade, commenting, "You got 2 Drake features? Must be Drake Bell." A playful jab, but behind it, fans could feel the tension. Drake was basically clowning the idea that Khaled's whole rollout rested on his shoulders, and it exposed just how dependent Khaled has become. And while Khaled was leaning on hype, fans were side-eyeing, because unlike Drake's snarky comment, a lot of people were busy cashing out on distractions like mobile gaming, bragging they were winning free cash, while Khaled was scrambling for clout. For real, his silence during the beef followed by over-the-top album promo just made the whole situation look desperate. Like his loyalty to Drake only shows up when there's money and marketing involved. So where does Khaled even go from here if he can't lean on his #1 hitmaker anymore?
You remember that song called To The Max? Drake said no 55 times. You said you needed the song. Drake said, whatever you need. They came back business-wise that Drake owns 95% of this publishing because they didn't want the song out at the time. Drake was putting out hot other songs. He didn't want the song out. He didn't think it was in line with what he was doing. But like a gracious king, he's used to throwing alley-oops.
Drake has been the engine behind so many of his chart toppers, and without that plug, Khaled's whole formula starts to crumble. 14 albums deep, and yet, without a superstar delivering him a ready-made single, how's he supposed to spark hype for a new project? Even if he lands a rare verse from Jay-Z or Lil Wayne, sure, that might be a headline moment, but it won't keep his whole brand alive the way Drake did. See, the way Khaled built his empire is shaky from the jump. He branded himself as this larger-than-life, clownish social media personality while outsourcing all the real music making to others. The hits were never his. They came from the artists willing to lend him verses. And that's the problem. Without a superstar anthem to hide behind, What reason do people have to check for a DJ Khaled project? The reality is, he never built a loyal fan base who ride for him as an artist. He's a hype man, not a draw. That's why the Drake feature has become his lifeline. Without it, the machine stalls. And right now, that dependency is looking real fragile. The industry is shifting. Superstars aren't handing out throwaways like candy. And Khaled's once bulletproof formula is starting to look outdated. The big question, can he actually stand on his own 2 feet? Or will the We the Best empire collapse without Drake's stamp? Kendrick isn't about to hand Khaled a couple throwaways to keep his albums alive. So really, where does that leave him? Right now, it's Khaled's chance to repair his shaky image, but the cracks keep showing. Fat Joe even pressed him during a convo saying, Khaled, you just witnessed some of the biggest beefs in the game between people you've worked with for years. How does that make you feel? But before Joe could even finish the thought, Khaled jumped in, trying to swerve the whole conversation away from conflict.
I study formulaic projects for a living.
He immediately started flexing about how he survived the Fat Joe versus 50 Cent beef, survived the Rick Ross versus 50 Cent beef, survived everything. And he hammered on that image of himself as the guy who avoids conflict, spreads positivity, and just focuses on the money. But let's be real. Was it really about positivity, or was it just about self-preservation? Because here's the kicker. Tony Yayo himself once revealed a wild story that Khaled later confirmed. Back in the early 2000s, before he dropped his first album, Khaled was still DJing at a Miami radio station. Rappers would roll through with their records, hoping for spins and promotion. One day, Tony Yayo, fresh off his G-Unit buzz, pulled up and tried to shake Khaled's hand. And what did Khaled do? He straight up brushed him off and told him to kick rocks. That doesn't sound like spread love, avoid beef energy. That sounds like a man picking sides when it suited him. The same Khaled, now claiming to be the peacemaker, has his own messy history of shutting doors on people when it benefited him. When Khaled brags about surviving the Rick Ross versus 50 Cent beef, let's not forget, he wasn't just a bystander. 50 dragged him right into it. Back in 2009, 50 Cent literally pulled up to the workplace of Khaled's own mother, filmed a whole vlog about it, and blasted it online for the world to see. That wasn't just smoke, that was personal, and it was messy. So sure, you can say Khaled survived beefs, but it wasn't without scars. That's why when Fat Joe pressed him again, asking how he felt about the recent chaos, the Rick Ross, Future, and Drake drama, Khaled quickly hit the deflect button. He said, "They're all my brothers. I don't get into beefs. I don't deal with hate. Sounds noble, right? But it also sounds suspiciously like a cop-out. Because let's be real, if Khaled was really just neutral, why would Drake be pulling back on delivering records for his album? That doesn't happen for no reason. Even 21 Savage didn't dive headfirst into the beef, but it was clear he was still on Drake's side, standing with him through the fire. Khaled, it looked like he stayed quiet, played the sidelines, and then tried to slide back in once the smoke cleared, waving around his 2 Drake features like nothing happened. And when people started pointing out that shaky loyalty, Khaled's energy shifted. He went from deflecting to straight up defensive, trying to explain himself. But by then, the damage to his image was already done. Khaled gets all defensive, saying, "You can't question my friendship with these guys. I'm DJ Khaled. I'm the one who spreads love, hands out the keys, preaches success, and fights against the people who don't want to see you win." But that's just smoke and mirrors. The truth is, if Drake really saw him as a brother, we wouldn't be here. Clearly, something happened behind the scenes that pushed Drake away, because the only collaboration Khaled's getting right now is a sarcastic Drake Bell joke on Instagram. Khaled keeps doubling down, swearing these guys are still his friends, and promising he's gonna be the one to heal the rift, bring everyone together, and restore the positivity. But again, it feels more like excuses than action. He frames it all as some big misunderstanding, a miscommunication between brothers. But was it really? Rick Ross sure doesn't think so. He's still trolling Drake to this day, throwing shots online whenever he gets the chance. And the messy part is, no one has ever gotten a straight answer on what exactly sparked the fallout. Ross claims it started when Drake was supposed to appear on a French Montana track alongside him. But instead of rolling with it, Drake reportedly hit him with a cease and desist, blocking his verse from being released. And funny enough, that's the very record where Ross laid down his bars for MMG. So, was it really just a miscommunication? Or was Khaled playing neutral in a war where the sides had already been chosen?
Let me ask you a question. With all this beef going on that was
I survived the Fat Joe 50 Cent beef.
That's a big beef.
Listen, Ross
he
50 Cent, when they going at it. Fat Joe and 50 Cent going at it. But Joe, we gonna keep it real? I'm the one out of the crew that always says, yo, we don't need that. We need to come together. We don't need that. We need love. We need positivity. And at the same time, it's not just that. We don't want to slow up the money.
Drake once rapped, "I'd force a rapper's wife. She ain't even my type, but I'd make the sacrifice." And people instantly linked it to Kim Kardashian, especially since it dropped right in the middle of Drake's beef with Kanye. The rumors about Drake sneaking into that Calabasas mansion were everywhere, and it only added fuel to the fire. But here's the thing. We still don't know the full story of what sparked the Rick Ross versus Drake beef, and to this day, the shots are still flying. Meanwhile, DJ Khaled keeps playing dumb. He waves the positivity flag like all this is just some misunderstanding he can magically fix. He swears he doesn't want trophies, doesn't want promotion, doesn't even want credit for trying to bring his brothers back together. Sounds noble. But where's the proof? Because when you compare him to Young Thug, the difference is night and day.
But you giving DJ Khaled a 5, and then what does he do? DJ Khaled, look at my hand. DJ Khaled, get out of here.
Nah, I can't believe it.
So I'm like, yo, Khaled.
Thug actually made moves. On his new track, he brags about at least trying to get Future and Metro Boomin to reconcile with Drake, literally patting himself on the back for making the effort. Even if it didn't work, Thug can say he stepped into the fire. Khaled, nothing but circles and slogans. You can hear it yourself. Fat Joe asks him straight up if there's any chance he could be the one to squash the beef, and instead of giving a real answer, Khaled drifts off into nonsense about the mango trees in his backyard, or how they're standing on holy ground at his house. It's classic Khaled. Dodge the question, drown it in positivity talk, and hope nobody notices the silence behind it.
I see him at the BET Awards. That's funny. I remember seeing Khaled. Y'all got this little poem I wrote for DJ Khaled. It's called "I Just Want to Tell You What a Psychic Told Me." Your car tires got stabbed out. Now you know, I know where you be. I just want to tell you what a psychic told me. I know where your mama house at. Now look, you can see. But I just want to tell you what a psychic told me. I know where your mama work at. Now look at her, sleep.
And Khaled wraps it all up with this wild idea. At least that's how it came across. If he can't keep squeezing hits out of Drake or the other superstars, then he'll just reinvent himself as a rapper. He even joked that Jadakiss could write his bars, and he'd step into the booth like he was built for it. Basically, Khaled's saying he'll never stop, no matter what lane he has to force himself into. But let's be real. That whole interview was silence disguised as noise. Khaled talked a lot but said absolutely nothing of substance. He's still pushing the image that everything's cool. Him and Drake are fine, him and Ross are fine, and he's just out here spreading love, bridging gaps, and bringing people together. But underneath it, the cracks are obvious. Because this positivity gimmick has already been exposed, the curtains pulled back. He hyped up his 2 Drake songs like it was the crown jewel of his project, only for Drake to clown him with that Drake Bell comment. That wasn't brotherly love, that was shade. And the truth is, Khaled's silence in all this doesn't make him a neutral peacemaker. It makes him look scared. Scared of picking a side, scared of losing business ties, scared of burning bridges that kept his brand alive. We've seen this same pattern before in Khaled's career. He reinvented himself once as the happy-go-lucky spread positivity guy to keep momentum going. But now, that mask is slipping, and people are starting to see the fear hiding behind the slogans. Khaled once turned himself into a social media giant, ruling Snapchat with his major keys and endless positivity talk. But when it came time to actually drop music, the mask slipped. Tyler, the creator, snatched the #1 spot right from under him, and Khaled melted down on Snapchat, trashing Tyler's music as mysterious, like it didn't deserve the win. That wasn't love. That wasn't positivity. That was a temper tantrum from a man who couldn't handle losing. And that moment peeled the curtain back. It showed the world that Khaled's whole "we the best, spread love" act only works when he's winning. The second he's not #1, the fake smiles crack and the real bitterness spills out, which makes it even easier for Drake to play him, because all Drake has to do is drop one line saying, "Khaled's the fakest dude in the industry. He didn't have my back. We're not real friends." Must be Drake Bell on that album, because it ain't me. And instantly, Khaled looks like a clown. The entire positivity narrative falls apart. And here's the cold truth. The industry in 2025 doesn't have endless active superstars willing to hand Khaled throwaway tracks anymore. The roster is thin, the climate has shifted, and without Drake's cosign, Khaled's hit-making formula looks dead. He tried to pivot, dropping a single with Post Malone and NBA YoungBoy, but it flopped so hard it didn't even scratch Apple Music or Spotify charts. Forget Billboard, that's a brutal reality check. The buzz is gone, and unless Khaled chains himself to a giant like Drake again, his career as a hitmaker might be finished. And the sad part, the more he clings to that fake positivity mask, the more fans see right through it. And honestly, when you look at it, yeah, maybe behind the scenes, Lil Baby or Gucci Mane care about whether Young Thug's being labeled a rat. But the public, the general fans, they don't. That's why Gunna has been able to make one of the most surprising comebacks we've seen. People care about the music, not the politics. Which is exactly why, if Thug really wants to save his brand, he's got to drop this whole rat obsession once and for all. Think about it. Before those jail phone calls leaked, Thug was on Twitter going at Kid Cudi, calling him a rat just for testifying in the Diddy trial. But Cudi's a civilian. That's not the same game. And then, right after, that interrogation audio of Thug himself talking to police leaks out. Whether you call it snitching or not, the optics are bad. You can't campaign against rats while your own name is tied up in police audio. Fans catch the contradiction instantly. Add to that the fact that he was allegedly trying to drop music on the same day as Gunna just to sabotage his comeback. Plus, trash-talking other rappers he once called friends while he's locked up. All of it makes Thug look messy, not solid. But this new move, dropping the bitterness, letting the music speak, that's his best shot at redemption. Because at the end of the day, people don't care about the phone calls or the courtroom whispers. They care about the records. If Thug apologizes, owns his flaws, and comes back focused, that could reset everything. His new project, the first since 2023, has the potential to flip the narrative, but only if he leaves the rat talk behind and gives fans what they've been waiting for. Great music, and that's where we'll leave it. What do you think? Can Thug bounce back with his next project, or is the damage already done? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, share this video with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. I'll see you in the next one.